Well, hello everyone and welcome to another one of these sort of Star Citizen discussion videos where I just sort of turn on the camera and ramble about some stuff Star Citizen in hopes that we sort of formulate some sort of discussion, get some food for thought, get the brain matter churning, because that's one of the things I really love about Star Citizen is just there's so much food for thought, there's so much discussion, you could spend ages just in there talking and thinking. And what I wanted to talk about today is actually the Imperator Elections. Now that it is over, the Imperator Elections is over, it's once every 10 years. I must admit, when I first seen that there was going to be an Imperator Election this year, I was sitting there going, huh, I wonder why they're doing that, looking over at America going wink wink. And then I realised, oh wait a minute, it's once every 10 years. They'd done this 10 years ago, and like the narrative team were actually on videos saying stuff like, oh, we didn't even realise ourselves. It was only when a couple of fans were like, it's been 10 years! You said it's once every 10 years, isn't there an Imperator election this year? And the narrative team were like, damn, we need to do something about that. So yeah, I was a wee bit like, oh, okay. It's not the wink wink America, eh? Yeah, I wonder why they're doing that, eh? It's not as, yeah, for what I thought was an obvious reason, turns out it's completely not it at all. But yeah, we're not here to talk about the wink wink, hi America. We're here to talk about the Imperator election as well, and the candidates. Now, I didn't want to do this before the election was over because I hate politics, to be honest. I absolutely cannot stand politics. I believe my hatred of politics all stems from one very sort of philosophical core within me, and it's have you ever seen those memes? They're like quite old now. I've not seen them in about 5 to 10 years, but it was like memes, or it was more not really a meme, but it was girls complaining that the reason they can't find a man is Disney has set the expectations so high, so they're all waiting for that Prince Charming, and they're never going to be able to find that perfect man, the man that's not just perfect for them. He is perfect in every way. There's not a single flaw. He is the pinnacle of humanity. He is the Disney princess, and they're like, they won't settle for anything less than that, so they can't find a man. And there was women blaming Disney for that their expectations were so high. And if, like, I used to just laugh off and say, yeah, like, idiots, just your standards are too high. That's it. Stop blaming Disney. But then I think I understand them a wee bit now, because as I've looked at politics, I think I'm very similar when it comes to politics. Like, stuff like Lord of the Rings, Warhammer, not in a good way, morality Warhammer, but as in their skilled way, Warhammer, because obviously Warhammer is a very grim, dark place where there's no real good guys, so I'm not meaning their leaders are good, I'm meaning their leaders are skilled. But yeah, I have a strong belief that our leaders, our political leaders, our leaders in any way, shape or form, should be the very best of us. The very best of us. And more often than not, whenever I look at politics, I see the worst that is humanity, not the best, and it just gets me deep inside. It is, yeah, just take a look at most politicians these days. Just, yeah, I don't even need that, but everyone's thinking of one or two right now. The worst of humanity, not the best. They should be the best, and we should have a way to uphold them to the best. But it's not like that. So that's why politics angers me, and I like to avoid it as much as possible. I like to bury my head in the sand, because I'm just a random little insignificant person. There's not much I could do. So yes, finally getting back to Star Citizen. Why did I not talk about this before the election? Because I don't like politics. So I wanted to wait until everyone had made their choice. I wanted everyone's choice to be their own. I didn't want to try and convince anyone to follow my ideas or why I'm doing, or I didn't want people to try and convince me of like that. I wanted everyone to make their own personal decision, not be influenced by others, that kind of thing. I'm not saying that that is what everyone should do. I'm saying that's what the right thing for me was. So the reasons are 100% my own thought process and that sort of thing. And yes, I ended up voting for Addison. She fitted with me in-game and out-of-game perfectly, because that was something that was important to me. I didn't want to vote for someone that would only appeal to me in-game, and someone that appealed to me as the player. So what I'm trying to say is I've got two concepts of people here. I've got me as the player, what I like as the player, like my own morals, my own views, my own things that I want to happen. Then I've got my character in the game, their views, what they would like, and obviously they wouldn't have meta kind of knowledge that I do outside of game. They don't know they're in a game, so they don't know how that affects it, that kind of thing. So I wanted someone that lined up with me both in-game and my character in-game, and I thought Addison lined up really well. Because one thing me in-game and out-game really loves is science and technology, and that is one of her pillars, is she really wants to work hard on science and technology. So that lined up with me inside game and outside of game. One of her core things was she really wanted to work on SynthWorld. She wanted to push SynthWorld and like put more money into it. For those of you that don't know what SynthWorld is SynthWorld is kind of like the personification of Star Citizen inside Star Citizen. It is a world that the human empire is basically, well, they used to be an empire. I'm not 100% sure what they're now. Oh well. The human political governing body is trying to create sort of a craft world. If you're familiar with Warhammer 40k, the Eldar craft worlds, except less sort of natural, like a craft world looks natural at the end, and more sort of less biological, more manufactured is the way I'm starting to think of it. If you've ever played Stellaris, you know, like a big mechanical planet that like, built, like huge Death Star. There we go. Why didn't I think of that right from the get-go? A huge ass Death Star. Like instead of like a tiny moon, an actual planet. There we go. That is what the synth world is. A synthetic world. Like, why didn't I just say that either? I'm a complete dunce. I'm rambling. This is one of the videos where I just unscript it, turn the camera on, and let's see what garbage we come up with. So yeah. So she wanted to make SynthWorld, and that is the in-game personification of Star Citizen as far as I'm concerned, because in lure it has been a huge money sink, it's been taking a lot of money, and it's getting nowhere fast. It's this sort of huge wondrous project that it's going to take a really long time to finish, and it's literally everything that is Star Citizen in the real world, SynthWorld is inside Star Citizen. And it's just as much a polarizing thing inside Star Citizen as Star Citizen is outside of Star Citizen. Well, it's not outside. Star Citizen is in the real world, not outside of Star Citizen. Where there's just as many haters for SynthWorld as there is lovers, and some people are saying it's nothing but a waste of money, a scam, and that sort of stuff. And yeah, like some of the other candidates, like their thing they were spouting is, we're gonna like put a stop to SynthWorld. It's completely like no longer any cash, gone, stopped, hey presto. Yeah, so yeah, that really appealed to me as well, because SynthWorld, Star Citizen, I can see that the two are basically the same thing. One in-game version, one, yeah. Okay, so SynthWorld really appealed to me. The stuff to do with AI, artificial intelligence, and that sort of stuff really interested me. In the lure, Star Citizen, like androids, AIs, well, it's not androids, it's not quite that advanced, but I mean like artificial intelligence is in almost becoming a live artificial intelligence. Like there's obviously very basic artificial intelligence, like the things you can talk to in that landing zone, New Babbage, where it just gives you like, it's a few pre-programmed questions. You can be like, where is this shop? And it'll be like, it is down there to the left. It is like that little hologram thing. So there's basic AI like that, but what I mean is like borderline human and level intelligence AI is a huge no-no in the Star Citizen game. It is something that's caused quite a few disasters. They've always been like, right, we understand it now, we can do it, they go and do it, and then some sort of disaster ends up happening instead, and so it became illegal. And one of the things she is planning to change is she's going to make it still mainly illegal, but legal under huge restrictions and observation and very well maintained, that kind of thing. And that really appealed to me outside the game, because that could open up so many gameplay aspects in the future, really far down the line, which I'll talk about more later. And inside the game, like, my mindset for my character was sort of, this stuff is really dangerous. And we know there's a lot of scientists out there doing illegal research into it anyway. If, instead of just trying to track them down and punish them, if we just put maximum amount of scrutiny and observation upon them, we can try and minimize the risk, because something's going to happen anyway. If they're going to be doing it anyway, and we can't stop them apart from chasing down and catching as many of them as possible, just like keep it under a microscope instead of like them hiding it from you, basically, is what my in-game character was thinking. So yeah, that lined up really well too. Now here on the AI is a part where I was on about earlier, meta knowledge. Well, you could describe it as meta knowledge. Me inside the game, if had like his realization, would be like, no way, no, let's out the door, let's go, go on. Me outside the game's like, and it was just the potential I seen here. Synth world, a synthetic world. She's going to push that forward. AI, like robotics maybe as well in the future, going to push that forward. In the lure, AI always goes drastically wrong. What if it still does go drastically wrong? What if, I don't know, some AI managed to get themselves some robotic bodies and capture Synth World? And now we've got a whole enemy, sort of robotic AI sentient faction to fight against, and it's like a future enemy, and that just sounds so cool. And we created it, we even voted for it, we're the origins, we're the ones to blame. That just sounds so cool, and so, yeah, that just sounds like an amazing prospect. As I was saying, like, me outside the game, like, hey, that is a really nice potential thing. I know I'm obviously not on the lure team, and it is like an idea I just thought of, and it's almost 100% not going to happen, because as I said, I'm not on their team, I'm not a lure or anything. It's just I seen that little tiny spark, and I was like, oh, me outside the game really likes that potential there, and me inside the game would be like, no, hell no. But me inside the game doesn't have that meta knowledge that is a game, and that is a potential outcome. Me inside the game doesn't realize it's a game and thinks, right, as I said earlier, let's minimize the risks, and minimize the risks by keeping it under a microscope instead of it happening 1,000 light years that way without our knowledge. So yeah, I just really like that idea of, like, say, I don't know, the game's been out for, it's 8 years down the line. The game's been out for, say, 3. And they're starting to talk about, like, not a first expansion, but we'll call it an expansion. Like, basically, like, from World of Warcraft to the Burning Crusade kind of thing. And we've ended the sort of first content cycle, and we've managed to defeat, like, a Vandal invasion. Maybe that's the big end of the first content cycle. And they're kind of like, wonder what's going to be next. But they could start teasing wee tidbits, kind of like really similar to what WoW does is here. So I'm using WoW's inspiration for this a wee bit. Maybe in, like, the third last big Vandal fight, like, we're getting close to it's this sort of climax. It's I don't think we're going to be able to win this kind of moment. Maybe some laboratories doing the AI research is lost, and it's like, oh, goes spinning off into space. I'm like, oh no, whatever happened to those robots? And then like other wee tidbits can happen, like maybe, I don't know, but they just tease it here, there, and there. The next thing, like something's gone wrong with the AI. Then the next expansion hits, and it's they release a cinematic that's going to be like the trailer for the expansion, and there's AI robots invading Synthworld, and yeah, boom, Synthworld's being conquered by these AI, and that's really cool. It's just, yeah, 99% sure that's not going to happen. It's just a really cool concept I had in my head, and I was like, oh, it doesn't need to go down like that, but that just, it gives a potential there I really see and I really like. Probably appeals to next to no one else, especially how little the odds are, but there's just, yeah. A lot more rambly today than I intended, especially on the political stuff at the first. But I think that's pretty much everything why I voted for Addison. 99% of the reason I voted for Addison is I really like technology, and she was the pillar of the technology. Like, she's the furthest into the technology sort of side of things. So that is the main reason Addison got my vote. And obviously, me really liking technology bleeds over to my character in game. He really likes technology. He really wants technology to advance. In the lore, there's been a couple of dark ages already, which is why things haven't shot us forward as much as they could have. And yeah, I'd really like to, my character in game would really like to make sure stuff like that doesn't happen again. He wants technology to be really important, and you can see in Star Citizen's getting to that sort of level of technology where you can basically just do anything. You know what I mean? Like, they can travel the galaxy, they're talking about clones now for Death of a Spaceman in that last week with Chris Roberts. Was it last week or was it a few days ago? I think it was a few days ago, to be honest. Talking about people being resurrected, they're talking about all sorts of really, really out there stuff, and it's, yeah, technology, science. So yeah, that was my reasons for voting for Addison. To be honest, I think most of the Star Citizen community probably voted for Addison for a very similar reason: science, because this is a space game, and 99% of space nerds like science. So it was a wee bit of a foghorn conclusion when you think of it that way. But as usual, this is me just taking my food for thought, out into a video and trying to encourage discussion. Who did you vote for? Why? And try and keep it as unpolitical as this in-game political thing is possible to be. See you all next time. I'll ramble again. Bye-bye.